Jay, the AI train has left the station. Will AI eventually replace valuation professionals?
No.
Okay.
Look, AI can't walk a property, talk to a broker, recognize complex motivations in a transaction. What it does is it supercharges our existing tools, makes us faster, more capable, but it doesn't replace judgment. I think the analogy we like the best at Capright is it's kind of like GPS. It gives you lots of options and removes friction, but a human being still has to decide where to go, right? So,
what's the biggest risk in applying AI to commercial real estate data?
I think the biggest risk is thinking that more data gets you better answers. Commercial real estate's not like other industries, right? The data that we have is very big and lumpy. It's full of gaps. It's hard to know like what the motivations were behind specific transactions. So if you layer AI over a bad data set, all that really happens is you get to the wrong answer faster, right? So what should the focus be? The focus should be on gathering, curated data, right? That you got to get the best, cleanest data, which requires a lot of human judgment. That's the human element that has to be, kept in place here.
So commercial real estate valuation is not about to have its Moneyball moment.
No, because the data is not built for it. In baseball, which is I think what you're referring to here with Moneyball, or like take any other industry with kind of regularized data, for that matter. You've got millions of clean, comparable data points. In commercial real estate, every asset is unique. The trades are irregular, and the motivations of the transaction are a lot of times they're hidden. That's why we say like there's no such thing as Moneyball in commercial real estate. In fact, we wrote an article about that. And AI can help us certainly synthesize what we have and cull through all that data, but without the curated data and the human judgment, it just can't get you all the way there.
Yeah. So where will AI make its biggest impact on the valuation sector?
Efficiency and synthesis. AI can do things like processing leases or picking sales comps and demographic overlays and flagging outliers and culling through lots of Excel models.
Sure.
It also makes communication seamless. In a lot of ways, it's sped up communication. Hard to believe that needs to be sped up any faster than it already is. But what this really does is it frees up human capital to focus where we add more value, and that's in the judgment and interpretation. And so, I don't know, we think about the shift, it's not like this seismic shift in, of replacing the valuation process. It's more about amplifying the human capacity that's in that process.
Yeah, but even there, AI has its limits in the valuation process.
Yeah, it has two really big limits, people and place. Those are two big concepts that we think about when we think about, the application of AI. Commercial real estate, as we know, it's like a people business. And deals are often driven by emotion and strategy that there's no way it shows up in sort of hard data, right? That you might feed into a system. It's also a physical business. You need to, sit on the curb across from the building or stand in the lobby and listen to the traffic or walk the block. And AI can do these things like parsing rent rolls very well, but it just can't replicate human perception or human relationships. That's where it kind of falls short. So people in place.
Yes, but then how should investors distinguish between firms who are accepting and using AI to its limits and those who claim to be AI powered?
Well, you have to look at anybody peddling AI as sort of a cure-all or a silver bullet, something that's like, in our industry, something that's like making valuations a snap. You know, what they're really doing is they're overselling it. The firms doing the best work in AI right now are struggling mightily. You know, they're iterating, testing, refining all the time. The systems are getting more and more advanced by the day. And if you're not really struggling right now, you're not doing it right. That would be how we think about it. The real signal that I think investors should be looking at when it comes to AI and commercial real estate is the focus on really curating or refining that data and then applying independent judgment on top of that data. You know, the willingness to do that and to be transparent about both, I think, is where the smart money is headed.
Yeah, sure. Great points. Thanks, Jay.